Greetings, everyone. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to a very special edition of the show. We've got in the house today legendary heavy metal vocalist from Accept and Udo Dirkschneider. Good morning, Udo. How are you?
Good morning. Everything fine so far?
Good. I know you have a busy day today. You're talking to lots of folks like me today, but there's a reason why.
Oh, yeah.
There's a reason why. We've got coming out on October 26th on AFM Records. We got your brand new album called Game Over.
Yes.
It's really cool. I've had to listen to it. I like it quite a bit. So this comes a couple of years after Steel Factory. But I mean, you guys have been really busy in recent years. Live albums, new studio albums. It's safe to say that COVID-19 has not stopped the Udo machine from steamrolling forward, right?
In a way, it doesn't stop. It has not stopped us. And yeah, I mean, what can I say? I mean, so we was in 2020, we did the VR1 album with the orchestra. Then we did a pandemic survival show in Bulgaria. We put out a DVD and recorded a live album. Then I did Dirkschneider in the Old Gang. There was just 3 songs. And also in the meanwhile, we was working on the new U.D.O album. So that means quite busy.
Busy is good, though. Busy is good. So,
yeah.
So tell us a little bit about Game Over. So 13 songs. There's also some bonus tracks if you get specific editions. Tell us who plays on the album, who's in the band currently, and what are some of the lyrical topics about you? It looks like you cover a lot of ground on this album.
Yeah, I mean, the band is at the moment like Andrei Smirnov. I'm already with him together now for 10 years.
Yep.
And my son, Sven Dirkschneider, he is now in 6 years in the band. And then we have 2 new guys. The other guitar player is D. Dammers. And then we have on the bass, Thielen Hudrap. So, yeah, and the good thing about this album was, the whole band was involved. And not only, what I did for a long time in the old days, only with Stefan Kaufmann. And then, also the first 3 albums, that was the Fitti Wienhold and Andrei Smirnov. But now that was like really like a band working, on this album. It was a little bit different recording about Corona. So, normally we are collecting ideas and then we say, okay, we have enough ideas. We go normally into a small room, rehearsal room, small studio, whatever. And then we start arranging the song together with the producer face to face in one room. This was not possible. So that was like everything, the whole arranging part, including the producer, that was like what we are doing now, Zoom, FaceTime, Skype, WhatsApp, always like conference, talking about, maybe we can change it here, we can change it there. But, that was a little bit, it took a little bit longer than normal. You have to wait until the link is coming. Okay, then you have to listen to that. And then you have to make a conference again. So, and also the same thing was happened then when we did the main recording, it was not possible to have more than 2 people in a room, the sound engineer, Stefan Kaufmann, and 1 musician. But I think in the end, I'm really happy with the result. And when we're putting out 16 songs and 1 bonus track also extra for Japan, so that means 17 songs. Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of ideas. And then in the end, we said, no, we want to have 16 songs on the album, I mean, I'm not really agree with, with the record company, They're putting out a normal CD with 13 songs. And then they come up with a special edition and there's 16 songs, And then they said, yeah, you can put on the special edition the bonus tracks on the end. And we said, no, we want to put them then in the right place that you have the whole good feeling on the whole album if you listen to that, Yeah, so, okay, but the politics of record companies. But yeah, what can I say? I mean, I think it's a really good mix up on this album. Fast songs, slow songs, mid-tempo songs, up-tempo songs, ballad, everything, and a lot of melodies. I like really much the guitar work, what the 2 guys did. And yeah, that's, what can I say else? I'm really happy with the new album.
Good, good. Yeah, I mean, there were some songs that really stood out to me. Some really, you got some, like you mentioned, some mid-tempo stuff, some real, faster paced stuff. But man, just some good heavy metal barn burners or anthems, as you're going to call it, like Kids and Guns. And again, a lot of interesting topics here, which I kind of like. And then you have some more like traditional metal fare, like Metal Never Dies and Like a Beast. Holy Invaders, Thunder Road, and then I love the chorus on Unbroken, which I think is a really great track. And to me, it sounds like many of these songs are built for the stage. So, do you plan when you can? Do you plan on bringing a good chunk of these out and throwing them into the live set?
Let's say also when we start working on songs, we always have already in mind. No, maybe that can be interesting for live, And of course, there will be not easy to make a set list for the next tour, I mean, of course, the people, they want to hear all the U.D.O stuff. Still, they want to hear some accept stuff, of course, the classic stuff. And you want to play new stuff from the new album. So this is the set list is always a nightmare. But we will see. I mean, what you said already, like Metal Never Dies, Like a Beast, Holy Invaders, and we will see. And also, I don't know which songs exactly we want to play on the next tour. Hopefully, the tour is coming up.
Well, yeah,
That's another thing, Yeah, but yeah. So I know that the American tour, I'm not promised, but what I heard is that they want to do it next year in September.
okay.
So hopefully, but I think next year September. I mean, everything goes quite well now here in Europe, and yeah. So I think hopefully everything will be nearly normal next year.
We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed, right?
Yeah, definitely. Fingers crossed. Yeah.
So you got a track on here. There's one song in particular. It's a little bit different. Don't Want to Say Goodbye. Somewhat of a very different type of song, especially for this album. How did that kind of slower ballad come about?
It is, in a way, the lyrics are also, a very private thing from my side. And but you can also use this. I don't want to say goodbye for many reasons. If somebody dying, you don't want to say goodbye. If your wife leaving you, your girlfriend, boyfriend, or whatever, it's like sometimes you don't want to say goodbye. It's the same like you're on holiday on a nice place, and the holiday is over. You also want to say, I don't want to say goodbye. I mean, you can use that in many directions, But I like that. It's very emotional. Of course, it is something, a private thing from my side. And yeah, but I liked it, the ballad, It's a great one, I think.
Well, it's cool to hear you in like using kind of like a different side to your voice. And I think, one of the things that I've always appreciated about you is like, you have a very unique vocal style, and you basically sing in the same way for as long as we know you, but yet your voice is still held up really, really well over the years.
Yeah.
How do you attribute that? I mean, what do you do anything in particular to take care of that voice? Because you're singing in a style that most people would think, oh, after 5 years that he's never going to be able to sing again. But here we are 40 years later and you're still going strong. How do you explain that?
I don't know. I mean, I think I'm really lucky with my voice, I go every year to check everything. And the doctor always said, everything perfect, no problems. And this is crazy, I mean, I never had any problems or have to cancel a concert about my voice,
Never.
This is never. I mean, I'm really, really lucky with this, I mean, I know a lot of colleagues, they have problems with their voice, So, but the only thing I can say, I do nothing really special. The only thing I did was this 17 years ago, I stopped smoking, and that's the only thing what I did. And the rest is like, I do nothing. I never warm up when I go on stage. I never warm up in a studio. It's a miracle. Also, sometimes for me, it's like also my colleague Stefan Kaufmann. I mean, I'm working with this guy for a long, long time. And when we did the recording of Game Over, he said to me, "This voice is a miracle, unbelievable." He said, and also he said to me, "You are still on the same level like Breaker, with the high voices." He said, "This is unreal, you know. Normally, if you're getting older, you are losing all these high parts, you know. No, I said, this is crazy, absolutely crazy. But I have to say to somebody, thank you very much.
Yeah. Well, it's funny you mentioned the quitting smoking thing, and I know a lot of very famous, popular vocalists in hard rock and metal. Also, they reached a certain age and they stopped smoking, and they attribute that to being able to last a little longer. So
Yeah.
I don't, who knows, right? I mean, we know it's not good for you anyway, right? So
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, what can I say? I still say again, like, I'm lucky.
good. Good. So you've speaking of like touring, and I love to always get like stories from the road from folks that come on the channel. So whether at fronting Accept or your own band, you've taken tons of other groups out on the road, or you've opened up for some great bands. So what are some of like maybe the one or two most fun bands you've ever gone out on the road with, as either as an opener for you or you opening for them?
Let's say a really funny tour I always remember was my European tour as a support for Ozzy Osbourne in '89 when I had the Mean Machine album out. That was the most funny tour I ever did. That was, I mean, of course, with Accept, I mean, I was touring with Kiss, I was touring with Iron Maiden many times, I was touring, I don't know, Ozzy Osbourne, many bands, and also with Motley Crue. I mean, of course, Motley Crue was also a funny thing, but sometimes in a little different way. But yeah, no, I mean, this is like the Osbourne tour that was really so funny, I mean, he was so funny, but okay, sometimes a little bit too much alcohol, but this is not new for Ozzy.
No,
And
definitely not 1989, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, that was a really funny tour, we had so much fun. We was laughing like hell sometimes, it was really good. I had really good memories about this tour.
Do you prefer playing like in a more intimate setting to like say 500 or 1,000 people, or do you love being on the big stage in front of thousands and thousands of people? What's the biggest stage? What's the biggest crowd you've ever played in front of?
Oh, that was with Accept in 80, what is it, 80, it was 84. We played in a View ski area. There was 120,000 people. And that was, everybody was like, we have to go on stage. But it works. And yeah, with U.D.O, that is definitely Wacken. This is one of the biggest festivals here in Europe. And yeah, for me, it doesn't matter. I mean, I don't have a problem to play in front of, I don't know, 20,000, 30,000, 50, 60, 70,000 people. It's a different way to acting. But now in the modern days, you have these screens on the side, so that means the people can see you. That was not happening in the older days. And I also prefer if you play in a small club, like say 500 or 600 people, this is really rock and roll. This is a different acting. You're really close with the audience, and yeah, it's also a lot of fun. So I mean, of course, all over these years, you learn how to use all these things. On a bigger stage, you're just like this. It's more like this. And of course, in the club, we have the people right in your face, that. Yeah, but you learn how to handle this, and I never had any problem. But sometimes, really, I like it more to play in clubs, like from 500 or 1,500, 2,000. That is, I don't know. That's more, yeah. I don't know, more exciting. It's really like
you're close, so you can connect a little.
Yes,
bit,
yeah.
right?
You can look them directly in the face,
Yeah.
and yeah, that's it. I like that. I like that in a way a little bit more.
Yeah, I from a fan perspective, I enjoy that too. I like the smaller venues. I mean, I've seen you with Accept at like, and maybe you'll remember some of these places, the old Brendan Byrne Arena in East Rutherford, New Jersey, back in the 80s with Accept, opening up, I forget, I don't even remember which band you were opening up for. Was it Kiss or Judas Priest or Maiden? I don't remember. But then I've seen you in a club in Poughkeepsie, New York called The Chance, right? You with your solo band, and you're right there. And that's kind of fun because there's this connection, right? Where you're only 20 feet away, and it's a little bit different.
Yeah, you're right.
So, a few years back, you went out and did a tour where, or you may have even been two tours, where you played nothing but except classics. And, and is that the final time folks are going to see that?
Yeah, this is also a story. I mean, it was normally planned to do just some special shows, 15 shows maybe in Europe, and the people was asking, "Bah, can you not do something? We want to hear some except stuff." Blomberg said, "Okay, we do maybe 50 shows all over Europe, and that's it." In the end, we were 3 years and nearly 300 shows. It was, I don't know, it was exploding, the whole thing. And of course, after this 3 years, I said, okay, now it's enough. I don't want to play except stuff anymore. But it was now happened. We did two shows in one in Belgium on the festival, and also in the Czech Republic. And that was normally planned in 2020 to do the Metal Heart anniversary show. So, and they moved it now to this year. And then they said, yeah, the contract says Dirkschneider, not U.D.O. And then we said, okay, it doesn't matter what we are playing now, which name, it's just, we want to go on stage, that was like the point. But anyway, for example, promoters in America, that's a good example. When we were talking about American tour, and then they said, yeah, we heard U.D.O. is not playing any accept songs. Then our management said, yes, it's only U.D.O. Yeah, but this is not possible. And I said, hey, what? Yeah, Udo cannot go off stage without ball to the wall. This is not possible. He has to play that. So, and of course, the management said to me, you have a problem with that? I said, no, come on. I mean, in a way, once I was talking with Ronnie James Dio, and he said to me, give the people what they want. That's the thing. I mean, of course, it's sometimes, you always play this old stuff. It's sometimes like, yeah, but you create songs like this, or can you imagine Deep Purple without Smoke on the Water? No. Yeah, so I mean, that's in a way is the thing. We will see. Definitely in America, I will play, yeah, not that many, but maybe 2 or 3 accept songs. In Europe, I know already the questions coming. Oh, yeah, we saw you in Alcatraz in Belgium. Maybe the classic stuff can be an encore. And yeah, we will see. I don't know yet. But you have to live with that. It's also my history, and
Yeah.
the people say, okay, we want to hear the original voice, so it's yeah, the same when it's like, for example, also Judas Priest, when Ripper Owens was there, he was singing the songs perfectly, but it was not Rob Halford. So that's the thing, and yeah. So
It's hard in this country. It is, because I think most people, they want to hear the songs that they grew up with, the familiar, the classic stuff. And I mean, it's got to be frustrating for you, because you've got such a large catalog on your own away from it of great albums and great songs. And especially here, I mean, it's probably a little bit different in Europe and other parts of the world, but here, the people are going to grab it, especially if they're like my age, because I'm in my mid-50s and I grew up with all those early accept albums. They want to hear that stuff over and over and over again. So yeah, you have to wonder, you come over here with the U.D.O. band and you want to play 80-90% of your own material and maybe throw a song or two from the accept catalog, but it's got to be tough, right? Because they want to hear more than that.
Yeah, okay, but the good thing is I can change that for every country.
True.
If I come to a country and I know, okay, that for example, America, I can do that. It's the same with South America, I know it's they want to hear all this classic stuff. So then I make a little mix up, for Europe, it's a different story. Also, especially in Russia, yeah, let's say they're okay if you are not playing some accept songs, but they are more into U.D.O, So, I mean, this is a completely different story. In Europe, in a way, I don't want to say they don't care. If I play some songs, they say, yeah, wait, but, in Europe, it's also a different story.
Yeah.
But things happen.
That's reality, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So for those fans who are watching, who maybe, like I said, grew up on the old Accept classic albums, but maybe haven't heard a lot of the newer music, pick 3 albums from the U.D.O catalog that they should start with first. That will probably the best representation of what the band does.
Oh, this is hard to say. With 17 albums, let's say, really, definitely is like Animal House. It's definitely Faceless World album, and I would say, let's yeah, no, not the new one. That is on the side. It's I would say it's definitely the album Steel Factory.
Yeah, Steel Factory is quite good. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so the 3 that sticks out a little bit, and the new one we will see. But I think already, I did already tons of interviews, and people say, "Wow, what is this?" Yeah. So I mean, the good thing I think, in my opinion, is with U.D.O, I never, each album is in a way different, sometimes a little bit harder, sometimes more melody, sometimes a little bit like more modern, like this and this. And that's, the good thing is also the good thing about the new album. It's, I have young people around me, they're a completely different generation. And they're coming up with also, let's say, different ideas, a little bit more modern or in a different way, And for me, it's good. I mean, I'm open-minded. I'm not a dictator and say, no, it has to be like this, no. So for me, it's like, okay. And for example, I did all the lyrics on this album together for the first time with my son. And also he came up and he said, "Oh, Daddy, maybe you can sing it maybe a little bit different. Like, here, I have an idea." Then I said, "Of course, I can try that, but it has to be that you have to be open-minded. That's the most important thing, and say, okay, yeah, very interesting." But and it's a good thing to have really young people around you, they put you fresh blood, and here we go.
Yeah, good. So the album comes out on the 22nd. It's called Game Over on AFM Records.
Yes.
For those watching, I've heard it. It's quite good. Sometimes, when I see a new album with that many songs, I'm kind of like, oh, that's a lot of music. But this flows really, really well. It keeps your interest going forward. So I think that's a really good thing. So, so any parting words? What can fans expect from this album and hopefully from the tour, maybe a year from now in 2022?
Yeah, what can they expect? What I said in the beginning is a lot of mixed up in a different kind of songs on this album. And I think that makes it definitely more interesting than you have all the same red line, And yeah, I mean, on tour, hopefully next year in America, I hope I can put together a very interesting set list. Of course, it will be included new songs of the Game Over album.
Awesome. We look forward to it. And before we let you go, looking back on your Accept days, what was your favorite Accept album and what's your favorite song from the old Accept days?
It's an album. For me, it was like Breaker, the album. And for me, still a song, it's for me still Head Over Heels.
Great track. Great.
Yeah, I know, but I love that song.
Interesting how you picked Breaker. That was the album, I think, where everything really started clicking for the band, right?
That was the born of Accept song. Yeah, so I mean, yeah, I like that album. I mean, if I play Accept only Dirkschneider, that was the Accept song, there was a lot of songs I was playing off the Breaker album. Yeah.
Yeah,
so,
pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Well, thanks so much for joining. It's been a pleasure to talk to you and to be a fan all these years. I tell the story all the time of the very, very first time I heard Fast as a Shark from the Restless and Wild album. It blew my mind and all my friends at the time. And that was something really different and just kind of really knocked us on our ass. And you've been kicking butt ever since. So thanks.
Yeah.
We've got the legendary Udo Dirkschneider here. Make sure you check out the Game Over album, which comes out next week on AFM Records. Thanks for watching, everybody. Visit us on the web at www.seatranquility.org. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter. Of course, we're here on YouTube all the damn time. For Udo Dirkschneider, I am Pete Pardo. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a good one.
You're welcome. Thank you very much. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.